level. And today is one of my topics that I want to discuss that is weighing so heavily on me. Now, with these shows that I go over, I discuss so many different variations of topics, but one topic in general, after watching the whole Will Smith and the whole Jada. No, it's not about Will Smith and Jada. So hold on before you leave. But I want to talk about for a moment about the difference between the man and the woman when it comes down to how we treat each other. Now, ladies that's listening right now, I want you to pull a seat. Fellas, I want you to stand up in the back. Go ahead, do it. Because this is something that we all need to hear, and this is something that we need to think about. Now, all of us as men, and I know all the men standing up in the back can attest to this. How many of us were raised and taught how to treat a lady? I'll wait. I see a lot of you up there standing right now, raising your hand. I see you shaking your head. Yeah, that's true. From day one, we were taught how to treat a lady and what we should do and what we shouldn't do. Mothers all over the world right now who will listen to the show, and the ladies that just sat up front can attest that any one of you that got sons, you told your son what you shouldn't and shouldn't do to a lady, how you shouldn't break her heart, how you shouldn't hurt her, how you shouldn't disrespect her, how you should treat her like she's your queen, and all that other jazz, all of it. It was drilled in our head from the time we were little. Don't hit a girl. Hold the door open for her. Don't treat her like that. Don't talk to her like that. Then as we got older, we became teenagers. Boy, you can't go out here and mess around with this. You got to treat these women with respect. You got to love them on this. You got to love them up on that. You need to take care of your responsibility. You need to step up and be a man. We were all taught that. Am I correct, gentlemen? I know I am. I know I am. I heard it up until the day my mother passed. But I got another major question. And fellas, you might want to sit down for this. Ladies, you might want to stand up. How many of you ladies that's out there right now can sit here and say how you were taught to treat a man? Now, see, if I say I'm going to wait for a long time. I'm going to wait for a long time. Let me tell you something. I don't know what's in the water. I don't know what's in the air. But women haven't been taught how to nurture and treat and take care of their man. Most women haven't. Most women these days haven't even been taught how to cook. And if you run into the right woman, she'll tell you the things she's not doing. And we can go back and forth at this, and we can debate here and there, and we can turn the tables around here, and we can spin it around. But the facts are the facts. Judge Lynn Tolliver
told me, she said, you never hit a man where he's weak. Never. It could be true, it could be real, but you don't hit him where he's weak because it'll turn around on you. You can get him to do what you need him to do, but you never hit a man where he's weak because they never forget it. It lives with them.
Now, you see what just happened? She just said that her mother taught her, no matter what you do, you don't hit a man where it hurts. You don't. You don't. Because he never forgets. Not so much, I'm harping on the never forget part. But sometimes you can't come back from that. We're taught lines with women. Don't call a woman a bitch. Don't call women hoes. Do you have guys doing it? Yeah, you do. You do. You do. Not saying all men, but you have your pocket few. But a lot of these guys these days and these girls these days, the lines of respect aren't taught anymore. It's a free-for-all. Now, we could go back to the Will and Jada thing for a moment. Why is it this woman keeps publicly shaming her man and disrespecting him in all levels of aspect? Whether it's for publicity, whether it's for money, whether it's for fame, whether it's just to hype up your book or bring more reality to you, why would a woman will continue to beat up her man in public? Not only her man, but her black man. It seems like as a black man, we can't get a break nowhere. I can say this in general. We can say all men in general, no matter what race. We can say, I can honestly sit here and say that it seems like there's a target on our backs. A bullseye sign that says, kick right here. None of us are thinking to the extent of what we might be going through already internally, but steadily we're being attacked. Shaft did a song, well, not Shaft, Isaac Hayes did a song years ago for Shaft, and one of the lines were, "No one understands me but my woman." That's what it's all about. As a man, your refuge, your shelter, your comfort is supposed to take place with your woman. With your woman. That's the only place you're supposed to have where you can go and lay down your sword. But it seems like you have to now carry your sword 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Who wants that? I don't. For the fellas that's standing up there in the back that's listening, you don't neither. It's hard. It's so hard to affect that it's like being on the run, not knowing who to trust. A constant cycle of running where you just don't trust anybody. You just don't. And the only home that you have, you can't even lay your head restfully because of the people that's inside. Now, I'm going to say this, and now everybody can sit down right now. Everybody, thank you. We choose the individuals that we want in our lives. We do. A lot of us see the red flags. We do. And we ignore them. Because we figure we can love them past their mistakes. We can love them back to where we want them to be. Can that be true? Yes, sometimes that's true. But how much love can you give someone under the constant pressures of being attacked? How much? You can't love somebody so much while they're continuing to kick you as hard as they can in different parts, knowing that it's going to hurt, knowing that it's going to leave a mark or scar that can ruin you for the rest of your life. And ladies, please, please, I'm not sitting here bashing anybody. I'm sitting here bashing the people, whether it be men or women, that continue to abuse and disrespect the foundation of what you, whether man or female, are trying to build with the opposite sex or same sex, for that matter. But it's like there's no respect for the foundation of love, or for the foundation of having someone strong and dependable and reliable and loving in your life. People continue to think that you can dish off one and find another and get what you had in the other. Sometimes that don't work. You know, they talked about that 80-20 rule. You get 80% of what you want, and you get 80% of what you need and 20% of what you want. And that factor is real. And it's the truth. A lot of us, even going back to Will Smith, it's to a point now where I want to scream and say enough. Enough. But that's not my situation. That's not my relationship. That's not my marriage. You know, years ago, they came out with a movie called The Passion of the Christ, right? And there was a scene where they was beating Jesus. They was beating him. I got so lost and engulfed into the film that I screamed out in the movie theater, "Stop already! Stop!" You know how real that is? To see something taking place in front of you, and even you had enough. I had enough. I had enough of people like a Jada, who just, at some point, when do you sit here and say to yourself, you know what, I'm not going to do that to him. I already did enough. I already talked about the Tupac thing. I already talked about the bedroom thing with Will. I already talked about this or that. I already talked about it. I already talked about it. So when did you stop? Poor Will, being the man that he is, said he's going to love his wife through it all. And whatever happens in his home, he takes responsibility for that. So if you getting your ass kicked on the street, do you take responsibility for that? Yeah, I deserve that ass whooping. And you out here trying to make yourself, you're trying to make the best life for yourself to a point where you take that ass whooping like it's nothing. Like when do you grab her by the arm and say, okay, you won, stop. She's going on book tours, saying this, saying that, all this, all that. Let me tell you something. I'm a man. I've been a man for a very long time. But I can sit here and say, I can only take but so much. What if this man decides that one day the pressures of the world, it's the social media stuff, the newspaper articles, all this now gets to him to a point where he goes in his car and he takes his life. By the way, just letting y'all know, this is Men's Awareness Month, or Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Men hold a lot here. And women think they can keep going and going and going and going and going because, oh, he's built for it. He can take it. He's a man. But he's a human being, though, first. Am I correct? Can somebody say something? But he's a human being first. And I think that's the stigmatism that men get, that we can be kicked and beaten and beaten and kicked and burned and cut and stabbed and all these other things. But nobody takes the time in the moment to say, you know what? Enough is enough and too much is too. I'm good. I ain't got to do that. Respect is one of the few things that a man has. It's one of the things that we seek and we go after. It's our moment that we have to ourselves where we can sit amongst other men because we held ourselves to a certain standards. We became that boss, that figure, that man that goes out here every day and works and hustles and grinds to get what he gotta get. Nobody takes that little time to say, you know what? If I can't do anything else, I'm going to give him his respect. Now, whatever's done in the home, that's different. Hey, what you allow in your home behind closed doors, nobody can say anything to. No, not even me. But where is the etiquette for how to talk to men? But we're wrong when we lash out. We're abusive or narcissistic or so many of these other little terms and sayings that people now use like it's something just to do or say. We're supposed to take it. We're supposed to hear you nag, you complain, you this, you that. But do you really see what this man is doing? Now, okay, for the ladies that just raised their hand, okay, yeah, you got your men that go out here, that cheat, that don't work. You got the bums, you got the this, you got the that. I get it. I get it. We got those. Okay, I'm not talking about them though. All right? So put your hands down. I'm not talking about them. No. No. I'm talking about the man that makes sure things is good, that makes sure you good. I'm talking about your protector. I'm talking about the man that checks in with you. I'm talking about the father that's out there that do what he got to do despite your complaints. I'm talking about the man who hustles until he can't hustle no more by working 2 and 3 jobs. I'm talking about the man that's trying to get his business off the ground, that's doing something, that's trying to make a living for the both of you, but he trips and he falls sometime over making decisions because he's trying to make sure he maintains a household and a roof for you. I'm talking about the man that makes sure that if you need something, you have it. I'm talking about the man that despite everything that's going on, he comes through, he helps out what he needs to with the kids, he cooks for the family. He's that breadwinner. I'm talking about the man that don't get no quiet and no peace, no nothing, despite all the positive things he do. That's what I'm talking about. That's who I'm talking about. That's what it is. We are men are not perfect. I get it. You are women are not perfect. I get it. But they gotta be a line of respect. There need to be a dialogue. I used to always talk about and grow up with the whole most communication. It's one thing communicating to me what I better do, as opposed to, hey, do you think you could do it around this time, or do you think is it possible for it to be done next week? I'm not talking about. No, I am talking about it. I'm talking about the women that go out here and say, you better do this, you better do that, because I said that. Or if you don't, this. Versus the woman that said, I need your help. I need you to work with me. I want to do X, Y, and Z. But I don't know if you can do it now or if you could do it next week. But if you can find the time, I would like for us to do this for the child or for this or for that. You see the two different dialogues right there? The one that's telling what you better do versus the female that's sitting there saying, hey, I need you. What women don't understand is that, see, if you punch a man, you go put him on defense. Yep. You go put him on defense. Slap me and I'm on defense already. But rub my back before asking me something, or put me at ease. Oh, okay, I'm not being attacked. Oh, okay, no, that's not an attack. Well, okay, but look, I can't do it this week. But I got you next week, Monday, guaranteed. And he comes through. But look at what happened. You cause him now to decompress, where now you're able to get exactly what you want and what you need. The same thing that Judge Lynn Tolliver said. You can get a man to do just about anything. It's how you ask him. 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 And I don't think nobody gets that. I think females are at a state of, if I don't flip out, if I don't do this, it's not going to get done. And it's possible that it might not, depending on what he got going on. There's one thing if you got a bum in the house who does nothing, who sit around all day long. And you say, hey, you take out the garbage. And he sits there playing the Xbox or the PlayStation, and he don't move. Then maybe you got to flex. There's another thing, if he's going to work and he's working fucking 12 hours a day. He's trying to balance and get a business going. He's trying to do this for himself. He's trying to do that. On top of making sure you're good. You don't think he can forget something? You don't think? When do we use our brains? When do we pause for a moment to think, hey, is this the right way of saying this? Can somebody tell me I'm wrong? For the men in the back, can you tell me I'm wrong on what I'm saying? For the ladies in the front, tell me where I'm wrong. Somebody gonna be able to tell me where I'm wrong. Somebody's gonna point out, hey, you wrong on this. I'm not saying all. I'm not saying all women do X, Y, and Z. I'm not saying all men do X, Y, and Z. But the dialogue needs to change. I'm a script writer. Write scripts. Lisa, you can't do that. Erase it. Lisa, I need your help in doing this. You can change the dialogue. That's my point. You can change the dialogue. But the question is, do you want to? The question is, do you see a need for it to? It was an old saying that I heard. You can catch more flies with shit than you can catch more flies with honey than you can with shit. Now, for a lot of people that don't know what that means, the sweeter you can possibly be with the dialogue, the more you can get done versus using a pile of shit to bring somebody to you to get them to do X, Y, and Z. As men, we're built as warriors. We are. Attack us, might I not attack you? But comfort me, might I console you? Think about it for a moment. Relationships are not easy. I've had a few that I encountered that they don't get any easier. But you have to know who you're dealing with. You have to know the signs that you see. A person can't help but tell on themselves. But if you see that you're just not being respected as that man, then something has to be done. Changes have to be made. Nobody should go about in this day and this time feeling less than by a person that you can look in the eyes and say, I love you. And don't get me wrong, you got some women who respond to being put down. Some people feel, and some men do. Some men too. Some women feel by you talking down to them, you love them. And some men may get a kick out of that too. Being talked down to by a woman might make them feel inferior, but at the same time, it shows that this person loves them that much. I never forget, there was a time I just told this girl I was with how good she looked, and she did. She got a phone call from ex. I could hear him over there say, wow, you look busted. And she responded to that in the sense where she liked it. Stayed on the phone a little while longer and stuff like that. And they kept talking about nonsensical things. But the whole fact was, wow, I gave a compliment and this guy just screamed out, wow, you look chopped. You look busted. It makes me think, do some people like to be abused? And if that's the case, what do you think of yourself? How do you view yourself if that's the case? It's a good question. That's something that you have to look at yourself internally. For some people like that, is basically how you grew up, the trauma that you faced. Trauma can offset so many different things in our lives that we don't realize it. You can get caught in that rabbit hole and not realize that you're going around and around and around in a circle. That same rabbit hole that causes you to produce the same trauma that you have been through. I haven't been through no dramatic trauma as some people. Some people want to sit here and be a victim and tell a story. Some people want to feel like they have a story because their lives are boring. Now let me explain myself. Some people will take highlights of their life or their childhood or certain things and use that to sit there and say, hey, I was a victim too. But there's a lot of other people out here who've been through some real serious shit that really were victims. You can't lay claim to that. You can't. But it's not my life, it's yours. The key point of this conversation that I was having today was the difference on how we are raised. How men are raised to respect and treat a woman. And how women are raised to treat their man. And how they treating their man, it's not how it goes. It's not how it should be. The only thing I can say in closing is that if you have somebody that's good to you and you don't want them, leave. 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 Yeah, you'll leave them with a whole lot of doubt. You'll leave them with wondering what went wrong. Could I have fixed it? Could I have did something different? Could I have made things better? But at least you didn't disrespect them. To build your self-character up. And this goes for men or women. If you feel you have to degrade somebody, treat them like trash, leave. Why lower yourself and bring somebody else down with you to make a point? Because the only thing you do, and this goes for men too, this goes for men and women, when you do that to somebody, you ruin them for the next person. Possibly. Possibly. You ruin them. And it's not fair. It's not right. When there's somebody out here that can love them better than you can, that can treat you better than you can,